On today's Primetime Local News, fire hits one of Lloydminster's oldest buildings, how the fire started, and what the city has planned for preservation. And the best female college basketball players are coming to Lakeland College next year. Plus, Saskatchewan is projecting a $1 billion surplus. What does it all mean for the average Saskatchewan resident?
Prime Time Local News, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Good evening, I'm Jace Mackey. One of the oldest buildings in Lloydminster was damaged by fire last week. Officials say it started in the wood stove and then spread to the floorboards. Our Zach Kenny has an update on the city's plans for repair and preservation.
The Oldminster Log Church has been in the city of Lloydminster for over 100 years. And with its age, shows the persistence of the people in the prairies.
Well, the Oldminster Log Church was built in 1904 by the area's original settlers, the Bar colonists. It's one of the longest standing buildings left from the first years of settlement of Lloydminster. And it was used as a church for probably about a year or so before it was deemed too small for the congregation. For many years after that, many decades after that, until 1961, it was used as a bottle depot, general merchant store, body shop, and auto repair.
The building was moved to Weaver Park in 1961 to hopefully repair the foundation and make room for expansion within the fast-growing city.
It was right across from the Prairie, what is now is the Prairie North Plaza, where CIBC is currently located, in that general area. It was built in 1904 and then moved in the early 1960s.
But as of March 12, 2023, the building was seen with heavy smoke coming from the brick chimney, and the fire department was called.
From what we understand, the floorboards had caught fire. The logs are still in pretty good shape. So the actual structure did not catch fire. It was sort of surface level damage. And then currently right now, the results of the fire, or the cause of the fire, and the damage estimates are pending.
Once the fire department arrived on scene, a passing pedestrian could be seen trying to put the fire out with water, but the fire itself isn't the only concern for the building.
There are structural concerns with the building that are outside of the fire that recently happened. So in October of 2021, we did brace the east side of the building because it started to lean. And we have confirmed that there are structural issues in the front of the building.
The city of Lloydminster is dedicated to the preservation and restoration of the Log House Church, hoping to keep the heritage and history of one of the oldest buildings in the city alive for many generations to come. Zach Kenny, Primetime Local News.
Both Lloydminster school divisions are benefiting from a partnership with the Lloydminster Region Health Foundation through the SHINE program. SHINE is now expanding into grade 8 classes in all Lloydminster schools, and our Shelby Clark has more in this week's Beyond the Classroom.
With this exciting news, there will now be a SHINE coach that will deliver priority programming for all grade 8 students. From generous donors for this program, this made it possible for SHINE to expand and receive such great support.
Of course, we are always extremely grateful to all of our donors. None of this would be possible without the generous support of each and every one of them. So through the Buzz the Bobcats initiative, obviously they raised over $30,000 towards this program, as well as everyone that supported our Dodge the Stigma event, which was held late in the fall last year. Extremely, again, it went to youth mental health as well as our TIMS machine, but none of this is ever possible without the generous support of our donors.
The Lloydminster Region Health Foundation is donating $132,000 towards the SHINE program. From both the Dodgeball Tournament and Buzz the Bobcats initiative, this will help students navigate their emotions and focus on their mental wellness.
SHINE has a lot of fun pieces to it, from Kimojis to Superflex capes to different breathing exercises and glitter balls and different pieces like that, all in us learning how to realize that when we are having mental overwhelm, what are some ways that we can help ourselves?
SHINE has already been running through elementary schools in the Lloydminster community, and both divisions are grateful to have this expand into their middle school classes. SHINE will not only help students recognize mental health within themselves, but also symptoms in others that encourages support in the community.
It's amazing because it's What it does is it provides an opportunity for our middle year students to receive some proactive programming just like our elementary students. This is an extension of our current Shine program, and just love the fact that we're targeting our grade 8 kids and giving them some skills and tools to just navigate the things that they're dealing with on a daily basis.
And that's it in this week's Beyond the Classroom.
Lakeland College's doors are open for program info sessions on March 3rd and 10th. RSVP now at lakelandcollege.ca/info sessions.
And we saw another warm day here in Lloydminster. With more on the weather, let's check in with Shelby Clark.
Thank you so much there, Mr. Jace Mackey. Yes, now taking a first look at your Thursday weather forecast here in the border city. Looking at the warmest day today for sure compared to the rest that we have been seeing throughout the week. We are seeing that plus digit, so that 1 degree mark, and looking at a much sunnier day today. We saw a lot more sunshine peeking behind those clouds throughout the day. Nice clear skies. So hopefully everybody enjoyed it because we did see a beautiful day today. And it's kind of continuing on with that wind chill, just feeling around -2. So not even feeling much cooler than what we are sitting at, which is definitely a blessing. Switching over to temperatures across the region for Alberta and Saskatchewan, definitely seeing a switch up here in our temperatures and conditions. On the Alberta side, all spots are seeing those plus temperatures as well. Most seeing actually between 3 to 5 degrees, it seems like, on our Alberta side. Seeing that 1 degree there in Mar-Wayne, while we are looking at 5 there in Vegreville and down in Wainwright and Provost. Warm right now in Lac La Biche at 7 degrees, and over in Edmonton still beating out everybody with 10 degrees, so they are hitting that double digit now for today in Edmonton. Switching over to our Saskatchewan side, they are seeing those plus temperatures as well, looking slightly cooler though compared to our Alberta side. Most spots seeing between 2 to 4 degrees on this end. Going a bit lower, they're slightly cooler with that 0 mark in Maidstone, and looking over in North Battleford just at -2. So North Battleford is looking slightly cooler. And now as we look at our school day forecast for tomorrow, we will be seeing those single digit minus marks make their way back for the kiddos out there starting off the day. Still seeing that single digit though right off in the morning with -7 as they go through the school day with a mixture of some sun and cloud. They will be hitting around that -4 by the time the school day is out. So expecting not too bad of a day for us and for the kiddos out there in class tomorrow. Looking at North Battleford's evening low, they will be going down to a low of -10 for their evening low temperature. So hitting those double digits, but definitely looking at the warmest condition from what we have been seeing throughout the evenings this week. So North Battleford will be expecting a pretty clear night tonight. Then for their Friday, looking at -3, so expecting that single digit, although they will be slightly cooling down back to that minus mark, and they will be seeing some partial sunshine throughout the day, and expecting actually a high chance of some flurries throughout the day, some light snowfall. So be prepared for that if you are in North Battleford. Cold Lake will be going down to low of -10 for their evening low temperature, so hitting those double digits as well. Going to be seeing some cloudier conditions. Aren't seeing too high of a chance of some flurries tonight. And then for their daytime high tomorrow, -2, single digit, beautiful temperature I would still say, and a mixture of some sun and clouds. So hopefully that sun will help brighten up their Friday for Cold Lake. And for us here in the border city, we actually will be going down to a low of -8. So seeing a beautiful evening low temperature, I would say, as we are in our spring season here. We're going to be seeing that single digit tonight, and we aren't seeing too high of a chance of some flurries. And then for our Friday, we're looking at -2s. We kind of start off the weekend, and a mixture of some sun and clouds. So another beautiful day ahead for us here in the border city, definitely as we start off our weekend. Now ending off with looking at a day of your look at your 3-day forecast here. We will be looking at -2 tomorrow, and seeing those single digits continue on into our weekend with -2 on Saturday. So a beautiful weekend ahead for sure, with a mixture of some sun and cloud. And as we end off the weekend on Sunday, we will slightly be cooling down to -4, but those single digits, what can I say? You know, we should be grateful because we are pretty blessed right now with these conditions. And that's all I have for now. For our first look, here's your weather forecast.
After the break, we unpack the impacts of Saskatchewan's budget on healthcare and education. Lakeland College will be hosting the 2024 Canadian Collegiate Women's Basketball Championship here in Lloydminster. With more, here's our Thomas Wildman.
Today we have Al Rogan, the Director of Athletics at Lakeland College, and he is here today to tell us a little bit about the finishing up of the Lakeland Rustlers seasons throughout all of their sports, as well as them hosting the CCAA National Women's Basketball Championships coming in 2024. So thank you so much for being with us today, Alan.
Thanks for having me. Great to be here.
All right, Alan, so let's start. You guys were mentioning an excellent season for a lot of the Rustlers teams this year. They kind of finished up. From an athletic director's point of view, kind of how was the season for you guys this year in 2023?
Oh, it was a great season. We've had a number of great seasons, but this one here was actually, once again building on the previous years. Finishing off with the women's volleyball team winning the national championship, being the best women's volleyball program in the country. Same weekend, we ended up with a bronze medal with women's hockey, a bronze medal with our men's futsal program, and the weekend before we won a conference championship with our mixed curling team. So a lot of great stuff happening in a very short period of time, and a bunch of individual accolades happened as well. So we have the top men's or women's volleyball coach in the country with us as well. Just shows their programs are growing. We have a lot of hardworking individuals who are making everything successful in our athletics department. So.
And then let's move on to the National Women's Basketball Championships. How did Lakeland end up getting, did you guys have to go through a bidding process, or how did you guys end up getting the opportunity to host this championship?
Yeah, so it's a process for sure. We have to apply to our provincial conference, the ACAC, and we were competing against another institution to win the opportunity to host the championship. We were selected by the conference to move our bid forward to the National Association. That happened, and then the National Association selected our bid, and we are now hosting the Women's Basketball National Championships March 13th to 16th of 2024. So it seems like it's a long ways away, but it'll be coming pretty quick. A lot of work to do.
All right, and then so tell me a little bit about of course, planning's not super far away. You guys still got a long time before you're going to have to really worry about it, but how are you guys going to have that operate with the gyms and how you're going to have it? Is it all going to be here in Lloyd, or is there going to be any competition in Vermilion at the other campus?
No, everything will be here on the Lloydminster campus. It'll be the top 8 women's basketball teams in the country in college sport. They will all be converging in Lloydminster. All of our games will be held at our Lakeland College campus gymnasium. We're going to try, obviously we're going to be requiring support from our community when we tells. It's a great opportunity for the community where we're bringing that many student athletes, coaches, parents, support networks into Lloydminster. So it'll be a great event for Lakeland College, but also be a great event for our Lloydminster community and the surrounding communities as well.
The reputation of Lakeland College, how is that going to expand with being able to host this prestigious event?
Hosting a national championship it's a pretty big deal, just because what it does is it shows that we can bring the top student athletes from across the country into our institution, into our community. I know that we'll be able to do this. We hosted the National Women's Volleyball Championship back in 2013. We had rave reviews, not just about how we as an institution put on the event, but also how the community supported the event. And we are fairly confident that if we do the same thing with the Women's Basketball National Championship, it'll help, once again, put Lakeland more so on the map. We're already on the map, and so is the city of Lloyd. But it'll also elevate that, I guess, the name of the community and the name of our institution. And hopefully it'll also generate more interest in the college and help our women's basketball team recruit student athletes down the road. Our coach, Chris, has done a great job recruiting to this point, but when you're hosting a national championship, it definitely adds that little extra profile behind your name, and hopefully that'll add as well.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much for all the information, Alan, and we hope for you guys have an excellent tournament coming up in March in next year in 2024. Thank you so much again, and we will have more coverage of Lakeland sports throughout the rest of this year, finishing up, and of course into next year.
All right, it's time now for us to check in once again with Shelby Clark, who has another look at weather.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jace Mackey. As you can see, our new bumpers, we are out of those winter bumpers. Shout out to the guys upstairs. Shout out to the guys upstairs. Now taking a look at your extended forecast here, we'll be starting off with our central zone of the provinces. And on the Alberta side, we are continuing that nice warm streak for what we were kind of looking at yesterday, of course. We were even seeing those spots with those double digits and those plus temperatures. We are still seeing some with that, with Edson and Edmonton just at 10 degrees. And we start to slightly cool down from there, but of course we are still seeing those plus temperatures, so we're not looking too bad whatsoever. 9 degrees for Whitecourt and Jasper, while it's 8 up in Athabasca, and then Rocky Mountain House is just at 7, and then we have that 4 and 5 for Cold Lake and Red Deer. So now as we switch over to our Saskatchewan side in our central zone, they have slightly warmed up from what they were looking at yesterday, as they were all, of course, seeing, you know, way cooler temperatures with those minus points. Now we are only looking at a couple of them, with North Battleford and Melfort at -1, -2, and the rest have warmed up quite a bit. Saskatoon is just hitting that 0 mark, while there's 1 degrees there in Prince Albert, and Meadow Lake is just at 3. So not looking too bad on our Saskatchewan side either. Going over to our northern zone, they have warmed up quite a bit, especially for La Loche and Buffalo Narrows, both at 5 degrees. So seeing those plus temperatures. -2 for South End and Flin Flon, while we start to slightly cool down from there as we go a bit higher up. -4 over in Wollaston Lake and Stony Rapids and Uranium City, continuing on their kind of cool streak with -5, -6. So they have warmed up slightly, but just by a few degrees on our Saskatchewan side. Looking at our Alberta side, they have warmed up as well, so we are definitely seeing a beautiful day, I would say, for all these spots we are checking out, especially down in this area here as they continue to see some warmer temperatures. 4 degrees over in Grand Prairie, while it is 2 and 3 for Peace River and Slave Lake. Fort McMurray is just hitting that 1 degree mark, and then we have some that are slightly cooler in those minus areas, with -2 in High Level and -4 there in Fort Chipewyan. But now as you go over to our southern zone, they have kicked it up quite a notch. They are matching with us more in our central zone now, especially for these areas with Calgary and Medicine Hat, as they were slightly cooler yesterday. 7 degrees in Medicine Hat, while it is 8 in Calgary, 6 over in Banff. Lethbridge seems to be the only one at those double digits, but still looking quite beautiful there with that 10 degree mark. And Coronation is still seeing some cooler conditions compared to the rest, but you know, they're just hitting that 0 mark. They aren't seeing those minuses just quite yet, so looking a lot warmer in Coronation. And as we go over to our Saskatchewan side once again, checking out in our southern zone, they have warmed it up. Seems to be the same pattern that we are looking at as we're going across the provinces here in our different zones. This side, however, with Saskatchewan, they are seeing some more plus temperatures. A couple with those minus points, with -2 over in Estevan, -1 up in Kindersley, and the rest have warmed up quite a bit. 0 mark over in Regina and Yorkton, and then we got that 2 and 3 for Swift Current and Moose Jaw. So nice to see some plus temperatures for some of these areas that weren't quite seeing those yesterday. Now as you look at some overnight evening lows, we are looking at some more beautiful evening low temperatures expected for tonight. A low of -12 seems to be the coolest for Isle Cross expected. A low of -10 that Bonnyville and Meadow Lake will be seeing tonight, and Provost and Paradise Hill will be expecting a low of -9. So definitely looking at some nicer temperatures, and condition-wise, it's going to be nice and calm tonight. So I would say expecting a beautiful night tonight for sure. If you got any later activities that are going to be outside, you know, it won't be too bad for a night for that. Just make sure you got some a nice jacket on in case. And looking at our hourly forecast for our Friday in the border city, we will be cooling down slightly from what we are seeing today. With that daytime high, as we were talking about before, just hitting that -3 for our mid-afternoon high there. So as we start off in the morning, we'll be slightly cooler with -7. Going through the day, as we hit that daytime high, we will cool down slightly to -6, -9 tomorrow evening as we head into the weekend. But you know, -9 isn't too bad whatsoever. And ending off with taking a look at your 7-day forecast, we will be seeing that tomorrow with -2, a mixture of some sun and cloud, and I think that sun definitely will help warm things up. And then as we head into our weekend, we'll be seeing that continue on into our Saturday, -4 Sunday, so we'll be slightly cooling down Sunday. But as we head into next week, we will be starting off with those single digits once again, -5 Monday, and even seeing it warm up later on through the week. So be prepared. We got some beautiful days ahead for us here in the border city. That's all I have for now. Our Jace Mackey will have our news coming up for you after the break.
Lloydminster Early Years Family Resource Center is opening up here in Lloydminster, and I'm joined today by Sherry Hushfoot, the Executive Director of Midwest Family Connections, to talk a little bit more about the center. So first of all, Sherry, take us through what this center is and what it offers families here in the border city and surrounding area.
The Lloydminster Early Years Family Resource Center is a place and community for families of children from 0 to 5 to be able to learn about child development, to play together as parents and children, to connect with other families, and to really be interconnected with the resources in the community that support good outcomes and school readiness.
Now, a large part of the funding for this center has come from the government of Saskatchewan. Can you talk a little bit about the importance that this provincial funding has to make something like this a reality?
The investments in the early years are really critical in our community. We know that for every dollar spent in the early years, we save $17 later across systems. So the investment that's being made by the Saskatchewan Ministry of Education as part of the Canada-Saskatchewan Early Learning and Child Care Agreement is really going to make a significant difference in our community and in the kinds of resources and the amount of resources that are available to families. The Lloydminster Public School Division is administering the funds on behalf of the ministry, and a local advisory committee has been set up to help guide the budgeting, the programming, and the priorities of the center to ensure that the supports and the services really meet the needs of children and families.
Let's talk a little bit about the impacts of this center. Looking a little bit longer term, after a couple of years, what do you think the impact will be of having a center like this here in Lloydminster?
The impact of having an early years family resource center is really significant. It will impact the developmental outcomes of children, will impact the capacity of parents to have the knowledge, skills, resources, and confidence that they need to give their children a great start and to really be engaged in the community.
I know LPSD are the ones that are running the center, but who is able to access it? I'm assuming it's basically anyone here in the community.
Right. So the Lloydminster Public School Division is the accountable partner on behalf of the community and on behalf of the ministry. Our organization, I'm representing the operational partner, and the advisory committee then oversees the programming. All families in Lloydminster can access the Family Resource Center, and all services are free of charge.
It definitely feels like this is a good collaboration between a lot of different community organizations.
Yes, the establishment of the Lloydminster Early Years Family Resource Center is a really significant partnership. It's a broad partnership. The development dollars have helped to support upgrades to the center, including flooring, paint, furnishings, play centers, has also supported us to increase staffing and increase programming, and has also allowed for a $30,000 investment to be designated for the development of a Saskatchewan outdoor park in partnership with the City of Lloydminster. And so it's going to be really exciting to see a new park in the city, and especially that's accessible to Saskatchewan residents, more so than some of the parks now.
And talk to me a little bit about the open house. I know it's happening on the 24th. What's going on, and what can people expect from that event?
Friday morning, March 24th, from 10:30 to 11:30, we are going to be hosting an open house celebration. Part of the celebration will include greetings from the Saskatchewan MLA, the Honourable Colleen Young. She'll be bringing greetings and sharing her reflections of the importance of this investment. We'll be having a performance by the Lloydminster Public School Division Prairie Thunder Boys. The indoor playground will be open for families to visit. The Lloydminster Learning Council Association will be on site delivering a partnership program, and we're going to be handing out free books to families that are in attendance to help kick off the 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten campaign by the Early Years Coalition. We're thrilled to have the Saskatchewan investment, and for the investment to now have established the Lloydminster Early Years Family Resource Center as a bi-provincially funded resource that will provide seamless services to families in the early years.
All right, Sherry. Well, thank you so much for joining us today to talk a little bit more about this. It was a great to connect today.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery and Furniture House, downtown Lloydminster.
I'm happy to be joined today on Primetime Local News by Flavia de la Fuente from the Kidney Foundation, Northern Alberta and the Territories, the Executive Director. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. So proud to be here.
Well, we're going to talk about March being Kidney Health Month, and there is so much to talk about when it comes to the Kidney Foundation and the things you do, but let's start by talking about some of the things that are planned throughout this month.
So it has been a busy month thus far, and we still have some more time to go. It's a wonderful opportunity for individuals to kind of do a health check. What's interesting is we can, feel our heart beating. you know, every time you breathe, oh yeah, my lungs are working, but our kidneys not so much. And you know, they're behind you, and you really don't think about them until something is off with them. But your kidneys are your master chemists. And so what we've been trying to do is raise awareness in general about them. And we can go into more about what they actually do a little bit later. So we have been going into schools and raising awareness there, doing presentations. We just had our kidney gala where we were really working on promoting kidney disease and the importance of organ and tissue donation. We've been in renal units as people come in and out, and just to be able to provide that support of what we're trying to do. And of course, doing interviews and radio and information to let the general public know 1 in 10 Canadians is impacted by kidney disease. And here in Alberta, that's over 600,000 Albertans living with chronic kidney disease and impacted in some way.
Well, and that leads me to my next question regarding organ donation. There are a lot of people who are waiting for kidney transplants. And it seems to me when I've talked to people involved with organ donation on the national level, that we're not so great for signing the organ donor cards and getting on the list and making sure that our relatives know our wishes. So is that something that you guys struggle with too, is to try and create that awareness of the need for the kidney transplants and organ donation?
Absolutely. It's critical. There's many treatments that can, impact those facing kidney failure. And the one that always seems to be the go-to, which in our opinion should be the last option, is in-center dialysis. That means going into a hospital. And obviously there is the time that is needed for all of the opportunities to go into the various modalities in-center, as I mentioned, hospital. Home hemodialysis is being able to take the dialysis machine into your home. It allows flexibility, but again, it is still, you're having to regulate 4 hours, or some do nocturnal dialysis overnight. Peritoneal dialysis, same thing, it allows you that flexibility, but again, just certain things are restrictive. Whereas in organ donation, it is the best treatment. Kidney disease is chronic, but if you wanted the best possible treatment, the gold standard would be a living preemptive organ transplant. And it helps an individual to lead a full life and as best as they can. Sadly, in Alberta, we are a bit of a laggard in organ and tissue donation. 90% of Canadians believe in the importance of organ and tissue donation, and yet our system needs to be able to catch up and have that, which is why we, as the Kidney Foundation, advocate that so much. Here in Alberta, I recommend that your viewers and everyone listening can be able to go into moretransplants.ca, where we have put in exactly what we've been advocating for to the government, and helping improve as well for healthcare professional to the system to be able to change. We know it is supply and demand. Currently, the demand is huge and the supply is very limited, but everyone can make that difference. So we say, live your life to the fullest and then pass it on. That's the beautiful part about organ donation. And don't discount yourself because, I'm old, or I don't think so, or I have this other illness. Let the healthcare professionals decide that. On April 1st, Bill 205 will become enacted, which is the Human and Tissue Organ Donation Mandatory Referral Act. Exciting. That helps us to be able to show best practices, and that is happening here, in Alberta. And what is needed is for individuals to have those conversations with your family. We believe that organ and tissue donation should be discussed every day. It should be part of the norm. And then those wishes should be respected at the time. So then again, obviously during those critical moments that is very hard for a family dealing with certain, life and death choices, and yet for the individual to have already had those conversations and to be able to pass it forward, as we saw what happened with Logan Boulet, who started the Boulet effect. They had those. It's so critical for everyone to be able to make that part of the discussions at all ages, and then for the system to be able to operate and maximize that, because organ and tissue donation not only saves money, but more importantly, it saves lives.
What kind of assistance can you offer for people who are dealing with kidney issues? How do they reach out to you, and what are some of the things you can offer to them?
Absolutely. We have so many amazing programs. One of them is our short-term financial assistance program, STF for short. And that is how we explain it. Our healthcare system helps with the treatment. We help with an individual's life. And so with this program, it is putting food on the table with grocery cards, gas cards, bus tickets, bus passes, taxi, accommodation, medication assistance. You can't get a transplant unless your teeth are healthy. We help cover dental coverage. There is those that are having to travel 40 kilometers or more for coming into various treatment. If you don't have a space available in your area, we help also on that part reimburse to help with through the gas card program. That's our dialysis transportation program. For those that are doing home hemodialysis, again, choosing to take the dialysis machine in their home, we help to reimburse their added electricity and water costs to be able to have that option more affordable. For living donors, and this is not just for kidney, we do it for liver and for lung for the entire province of Alberta. We help break the financial barrier. And so our living donor expense reimbursement program, which should just be called the superhero program, because that's what these individuals are doing, from covering their travel, accommodation, loss of wages, parking, meals. I mean, the list goes on. What it allows, anyone can come from anywhere in the world. As long as they save the life of an Albertan, our program kicks in to be able to break down that financial barrier. And then in general, providing our peer support through our Kidney 101 program, our various educational binders, brochures, our presentations. The list really does go on, and we're always getting stretched, right? We're always pushing the envelope because we have to advocate for extra support. We have to raise the awareness of how important this is. And then of course, through our events, like I said, our kidney gala, but we have Kidney Walk coming up in the spring. And so that's how public and donors can be able to help us with all of our amazing programs that really impact the kidney and the transplant community that we serve.
Well, Flavia, it has been a pleasure to speak with you today. Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. And you guys are doing amazing work. So keep it up. Thank you so much for chatting with us.
Thank you very much. And as I always say, we're behind you all the way. And if anyone ever needs us, we are here for you. Thank you.
And this has been our show on this Thursday night. Thank you all so much for joining us. Have a great night, and we'll see you again on Friday.